Greetings friends. In this video lecture, we will be learning and understanding one of the important topic of Companies Act 2013, related party transaction. This video will be helpful for anyone who wants to understand the importance of related party transaction vis-a-vis a company and its importance. However, this video lecture has been prepared keeping in view the course material provided by the Company Secretary Institute for the professional program for its paper 1 of module 1, governance, risk management, compliances and ethics. Before understanding the topic, let us see what were the questions which were asked in the previous examination of professional program. In 2016, question number 2A, which was for 5 marks, the question was, what do you mean by related party transaction? What are the provision of listing agreement related to monitoring of related party transactions? Then for December 2016, question 1B, which was for 2 marks, was briefly explain the role of due diligence report in helping to curb occurrence of related party transaction. Then in June 2019, the question was, discuss the provision related to disclosure of related party transactions in annual report according to the listing regulation 2015. Then in December 2019, once again question for 5 marks was asked in reference to a case law given where the question was, under the Energy Department, Government of Tamil Nadu, 3 companies as government company were incorporated as below: a limited company for generation of electricity, B Limited for generation of electricity, C Limited for distribution of electricity. Further, 3 subsidiaries, namely X Limited, Y Limited and Z Limited, were incorporated as wholly owned subsidiary company of C Limited. C Limited purchases the power, that is electricity, from A Limited and sell all power to subsidiary companies. Subsidiary company through B Limited distribute the power in the state. Apart from that, C Limited also purchases cables from manufacturer and sells it to the subsidiary company with a margin of 5% on sale price. In the power supply, C Limited also charges 0.05 paisa per unit as service charge from subsidiary company. During the audit, auditors raised the question that there are lot of related party transactions and directors and members are the same in all the companies. Further, chairman is also common. Neither the board nor the member of the company approved any transaction which comes under the definition of related party transaction. The company secretary replied that the transactions are pre-approved by Energy Department, Government of Tamil Nadu, but auditor is dissatisfied with this reply. In such a situation, check the validity of the transaction between related parties. So, you can see the importance of the topic and the question asked. Now, coming to the topic, related party transaction. Related party transaction can present a potential or actual conflict of interest and might not be aligned with the best interest of the company and its shareholders, especially minority shareholders. So, this topic basically protect the minority shareholder so that the majority cannot misuse their power by entering into prejudicial transaction vis-a-vis the related party. It can result in a situation where such transactions are used as a conduit to channel funds out of the company into another entity which is a related party. These transactions can also be considered as a business opportunity that is lost to a related party to the detriment of the interest of the company and its shareholder. Thus, these conflicts of interest are inherently linked to the governance structure of the company, which can either enhance or limit the board's effectiveness. So, the board carries the main responsibility for reviewing and guiding corporate strategy and for effective monitoring management, and it is accountable to the company and its shareholder. Therefore, it is inherently linked to the governance structure of a company, and in turn it enhances or it limits the effectiveness of board. At the same time, it is to be understood that not all related party transactions are detrimental to the interest of the company or its shareholder. Some transactions can be legitimate and serve practical commercial purposes. If companies are prohibited from entering into such transaction, their ability to maximize shareholders' value can suffer. Some related party transactions are conducted for the purpose of exchanging products or services, which should occur at an arm's length basis. So, whenever there is a transaction at an arm's length basis, the same is allowed under the law. The various types of related party transactions that are commonly observed are financial assistance through provisions of loans, guarantees and collaterals, asset sale and purchase between related parties, the sale, purchase or supply of any goods, material or services which is in the ordinary course of business. Then bailouts. The law in India does not prohibit related party transaction, but there are inbuilt checks and balances in the act which requires that the board should be informed and approve the transaction in a timely manner with full disclosure. The law related to related party transactions are given in the Companies Act, its regulation, and then for listed company there is SEBI LODR regulation 2015. In this we find that the requirement concerning related party transaction could be divided into 4 key parts. These are: first, we need to identify who are the related parties, then what are the related party transactions, what is the approval process if we want to enter into a related party transaction, and what are the disclosure that are required to be made prior to entering into related party transaction. Now, to understand the related parties, it is important that we understand the definition of related party as given in subsection 76 of section 2 of Companies Act 2013. The act's definition specify that with reference to a company, related parties means a director, here a director, any one of the member of the board, the key managerial personnel, then relative of director, then relative of key managerial personnel, then a firm wherein a director or manager is a member or director or partner, then or the relative of director or manager or member or partner of that firm, then a private company in which the director or manager is a member or director, then similarly a public company in which a director or manager is a director or holds along with his relative more than 2% of its paid up share capital. Then related party means any body corporate whose board of director, managing director or manager is accustomed to act in accordance with the advice, directions or instruction of the director or manager. So, wherever either any person on whose advice, direction or instruction a director or manager is accustomed to act, as discussed herein above, this will not include if the advice or direction or instruction is given as a professional in his professional capacity. Any company which is a holding, a subsidiary or an associate company of such company, or a subsidiary or of a holding company to which it is also a subsidiary, and there is provision that any person as may be prescribed by the law. These are all the related parties as defined in subsection 76 of section 2 of Companies Act 2013. Now, similar provision is given in Rule 3 of the Companies Specification of Definition Details Rule 2014, which provides that for the purpose of section 276, a director other than an independent director or key managerial personnel of the holding company or his relative with reference to the company shall be deemed to be the related party. Section 2 subsection 77 of the Companies Act and rule prescribed thereunder provides that relative, who are the relatives with reference to any person, it means anyone who is related to another if they are member of HUF, they are a spouse, or one person is related to the other in the manner father, provided that term father includes stepfather, mother including stepmother, son including a stepson, and son's wife. Then daughter, daughter's husband, brother, which includes a stepbrother, sister, which includes stepsister. So, subsection 77 of section 2 of Companies Act specifically covers everyone. This is HUF, then husband and wife, then father, son, and likewise. Now, what are the relevant rule with reference to the relative? Listing regulation, the term related party is broader vis-a-vis the Companies Act. The listing agreement includes the definition as given in Indian accounting standards, and related party disclosure under the Indian accounting standard is given in IND AS 24. As per Indian AS 24, a related party is a person or entity that is related to the entity that is preparing its financial statements, that is a reporting entity. A person or a close member of that person's family is related to the reporting entity if that person has a control or joint control over the reporting entity, has significant influence over the relating entity, or is a member of a key management personnel of the reporting entity or of a parent of the reporting entity. Then clause B provides that an entity is related to a reporting entity if any of the following conditions are applied. Then there are 1, 2, 3, 4 conditions, 5 conditions given, which says that the entity and the reporting entity are member of the same group. One entity is an associate or joint venture of the other entity. Both entity or joint venture of the same third party. One entity is joint venture of the third entity, and the other entity is an associate of the third entity. So likewise, I am not going into the detail of the definition because this basically gives you the broader idea what is there in AS 24 as far as the related parties are concerned. How do we identify the related party transaction? We have learned that there are 4 important criteria to identify, to be dealt in related party transaction. The first one is identification of related party transaction. Section 188 subsection 1 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with related party transaction with respect to sale, purchase or supply of any goods or material, selling or otherwise disposing of or buying property of any kind, leasing of property of any kind, availing or rendering of any services, appointment of any agent for purchase or sale of goods, materials, services or property. Then related party's appointment to any office or place of profit in the company, its subsidiary company or associate company, and underwriting the subscription of any securities or derivatives thereof of the company. Then it provides a proviso that the no contract or arrangements as prescribed without approval, which is not applicable for holding company and its wholly owned subsidiary, wherein the account of these two companies are consolidated and placed in the AGM. Then no member to vote if related party contract or arrangement, if 90 or more members in the number are related party, that is relative of the promoter, Not applicable for transaction in ordinary course of business other than transactions which are not at arm's length basis. The regulation related party transactions in general sense, and it uses word resources which may not get recognition as asset. So, for example, research work is a resource, and it also include a listed company is transferring to its fellow subsidiary research work carried out in the past which does not meet criteria for recognition as an intangible asset, but if there is such a transaction, then it is a related party transaction. Hence, it could be said that regulation contains a broader definition which is expected to cover all types of related party transactions. Then there is a research approval process. If a company wants to enter into the arrangement or a contract wherein related parties are involved. Subsection 1 of section 188 of the Companies Act 2013 provides that a company shall enter into any contract or arrangement with a related party with respect to the transaction, related party transactions, only with the consent of the BOD, which is given by means of a resolution at a meeting of board and subject to certain conditions as prescribed under Rule 15 of the Companies Meeting of Boards and its Power Rules 2014. The requirement requires the agenda of the board meeting at which the resolution is proposed to be moved shall disclose the name of the related party and nature of relationship, the nature, duration of contract and particulars of the transactions, arrangement or contract, the material terms of the contract or arrangement including the value, if any advance paid or received for the contract or arrangement, the manner of determining the pricing and other commercial terms both included as part of contract and not considered as part of the contract, whether all factors which are relevant has been considered or not. If not, then the details of factors not considered with the rationale for not considering those factors, any other information relevant or important for the board to take note of it so far as the proposed transaction is concerned. Any director interested should not be present in the such board meeting. For first proviso to subsection 1 of section 188, it says that except with the prior approval of company by means of a resolution, a company shall not enter into a transaction or transactions where the transaction or transactions to be entered to first as contracts or arrangements with respect to clause A to E of subsection 1 of section 188 with criteria. Again, sale, purchase or supply of any goods or material directly or through appointment of agent amounting to 10% or more of the turnover of the company or rupees 100 crore, whichever is lower, as mentioned in clause A and clause E respectively of subsection 1 of section 188. Then selling or otherwise disposing of or buying property of any kind directly or through appointment of agent amounting to 10% or more of the net worth here of the company or rupees 100 crore, whichever is lower, as mentioned in clause B and clause E respectively of subsection 1 of section 188. Then third one is leasing of property any kind amounting to 10% or more of the net worth of the company or 10% of more of turnover of the company or rupees 100 crore, whichever is lower, for clause C of subsection 1 of section 188. Then fourth, availing or rendering of any services directly or through appointment of agent amounting to 10% or more of the turnover of the company or rupees 50 crore, whichever is lower, as mentioned in clause D, E of subsection 1 of section 188. There is an explanation and it is clarified that the limits specified in subsection 1 to subclause 4 shall apply for transaction or transactions to be entered into either individually or taken together with the previous transaction during the financial year. Then B says that except with the prior approval of the company by a resolution, a company shall not enter into a transaction or transactions where the transaction or transactions to be entered into is for appointment of any office or place of profit in the company, its subsidiary company or associate company at a monthly remuneration exceeding 2.5 lakh rupees, as mentioned in clause F of subsection 1 of section 188. That is related party appointment to any office or place of profit in the company, its subsidiary company or associate company. Then C says that the appointment of underwriter, the subscription of any securities or derivative thereof a company should not be without the prior approval. If it is for remuneration for underwriting the subscription of any securities or derivatives thereof of the company exceeding 1% of the net worth, as mentioned in clause G of subsection 1 of section 188. Here there is an explanation that the turnover or net worth referred in the sub-rule shall be computed on the basis of audited financial statement of the preceding financial year. Now rule 2 says, in case of wholly owned subsidiary, the resolution is passed by the holding company shall be sufficient for the purpose of entering into the transaction between the wholly owned subsidiary and the holding company. Then rule 3 says, the explanatory statement to be annexed to the notice of a general meeting convened pursuant to section 101 shall contain the following particulars, namely name of the related party, name of the director or KMP who is related, nature of relationship, nature, material terms, monetary value, particulars of the contract or arrangement, any other information relevant and important for the member to take a decision on the proposed resolution. Then, what is the implication if approval is not taken. Where any contract or arrangement is entered into by a director or any other employee without obtaining the consent of the board or approval by a resolution in the general meeting, and if it is not ratified by the board or, as the case may be, by the shareholder at the meeting within 3 months from the date of such contract or arrangement was entered into, such contract or arrangement shall be voidable at the option of the board or shareholder, as the case may be. And if the contract or arrangement is with a related party to any director or is authorized by any other director, the director concerned shall indemnify the company against any loss incurred by it. The provision of SEBI LODR Regulation 2015, which was one of the question in the previous question paper, previous attempt. Policy on materiality of related party transaction. It is given in Regulation 23, Sub-Regulation 1. The listed entity shall formulate a policy on materiality of related party transactions and on dealing with related party transaction, including clear threshold limits duly approved by the board of director, and such policy shall be reviewed by the board of director at least once every 3 years and updated accordingly. When will a transaction will be related party shall be called material? Regulation 23(1) and Sub-Regulation 1A deals with this situation. It says that a transaction with a related party shall be considered material if the transaction or transactions to be entered into individually or taken together with previous transaction during a financial year exceed 10% of the annual consolidated turnover of the listed entity as per the last audited financial statement of the listed entity, with effect from July 2019. A transaction involving payment made to a related party with respect to the brand usage or royalties shall be considered material if the transaction or transactions to be entered into individually or taken together with a previous transaction during a financial year exceed 2% of the annual consolidated turnover of the listed entity as per the last audited financial statement of the listed entity. Now, the approval of audit committee is required under Sub-Regulation 2 of Regulation 23. All related party transactions shall require prior approval of audit committee. Then Sub-Regulation 3 deals with omnibus approval of audit committee. Audit committee may grant omnibus approval for related party transaction proposed to be entered into by a listed entity subject to the following conditions. What are those? First, the audit committee shall lay down the criteria for granting the omnibus approval in line with the policy of related party transactions of the listed entity, and such approval shall be applicable in respect of transactions which are repetitive in nature. Then, the audit committee shall satisfy itself regarding the need for such omnibus approval and that such approval is in interest of the listed entity. Then, approval shall specify the name of the related party, nature of transaction, period of transaction, maximum amount of transaction that shall be entered into, the indicative base price or current contracted price, and the formula for variation in the price, if any. And the committee can also specify some other conditions as deemed fit. Here it is provided that where the need for related party transaction cannot be foreseen and aforesaid details are not available, audit committee may grant omnibus approval for such transaction subject to value not exceeding rupees 1 crore per transaction. The audit committee shall review at least on quarterly basis the details of related party transactions entered into by the listed entity pursuant to each of the omnibus approval given, and such omnibus approval shall be valid for a period not exceeding 1 year and shall require fresh approval after the expiry of 1 year. Then approval of shareholder is required under sub-regulation 4 of regulation 23. It says that all material related party transactions shall require approval of the shareholder through resolution, and no related party shall vote to approve such regulation whether the entity is a related party to the particular transaction or not. This means all related party transaction which are material will require approval of shareholder by means of resolution, and in such resolution no shareholder or member who is related party will vote. It is provided that the requirement specified under this sub-regulation shall not apply in respect of resolution plan approved under section 31 of Insolvency Code, subject to the event being disclosed to the recognized stock exchange within 1 day of resolution plan being approved. There are exemptions given in regulation 23(5) sub-regulation. The provision of sub-regulation 2, 3, 4 of regulation 23 shall not be applicable in transactions entered into between two government companies. Remember the question asked in December 2019 exam. Transactions entered into between a holding company and its wholly owned subsidiary whose account are consolidated with such holding company and placed before the shareholder at the AGM for approval. Then the explanation here given is for the purpose of clause A, government company means government company as defined in subsection 45 of section 2 of the Companies Act. The other provision, sub-regulation 6, talks about that the provision of this regulation shall be applicable to all prospective transactions. Then sub-regulation 7 says, for the purpose of this regulation, all entity falling under the definition of related party shall not vote to approve the relevant transaction irrespective of whether the entity is a party to that particular transaction or not. Sub-regulation 8 says that all existing material related party contracts or arrangement entered into prior to the date of notification of these regulations and which may continue beyond such date shall be placed for approval of the shareholder in the first GM subsequent to the notification of this regulation. Then sub-regulation 9 says that the listed entity shall submit within 30 days from the date of publication of its standalone and consolidated financial result for the half year disclosure of the related party transactions on a consolidated basis in the format specified in the relevant accounting standard for annual results to the stock exchange and publish the same on the website. So the related party disclosure, the listed entity shall make disclosure in compliance with the accounting standards on the related party disclosures. The disclosures requirement shall be given as given in this table, wherein holding company disclosure of the amount at the year end and the maximum amount of the loan, advances, investment outstanding during the year is to be given with reference to loan and advances in the nature of loan to the subsidiary, to the associate, and where director are interested by name and account, then subsidiary, almost same disclosure as required to be given by the parent company in the account of subsidiary company. Then holding company is also required to be disclose investment by the loanee in the shares of the parent company and subsidiary company when the company has made a loan or advance in the nature of a loan. For the purpose of above disclosure, director's interest shall have the same meaning as given in section 184 of the Companies Act 2013, and the above disclosure shall be applicable to all listed entities except for listed banks. So disclosure on materially significant related party transaction that may have been potential conflict with the interest of listed entity at large is to be disclosed, and website link where the policy on dealing the related party transaction is also to be given in the website of the company. So friends, with this we complete the important topic of related party transaction as given in defined in section 2 subsection 76 and section 188 of the Companies Act 2013, read with regulation 23 of SEBI LODR regulation 2015. Thank you.